Hey, you! I got a question. What's Pokemon all about? Making friends out of as many bloodthirsty creatures as possible and drafting them into your personal war effort. That's right. But what if we didn't do that? I wanted to challenge myself by doing something new with my favorite Pokemon games of all time, Pokemon Black and White. But looking at all of these videos, it seems as if everything has been done before, except for one very interesting, very simple, and very outdated question. Hey, what if we took the funny Amoonguss Pokemon and made them the only one we could use? Ah, yes, a reference. You gotta love those, right? But thinking about it seriously, what if we used only Amoonguss in a Pokemon Black and White run? Could we beat the game? What are the parameters? How do we handle Skylo or Bryson or any of the Elite Four? Shut up, I'll get to that. But first, we need to talk about today's sponsor, Opera GX. Opera GX is the web browser made by gamers for gamers. Wow! Opera GX is especially excellent because of the GX control feature. What is that, you ask? Well, it's the niftiest feature on the planet as it allows you to directly control how much RAM and CPU your browser uses, making your streaming, gaming, and everything in between much smoother in the process. And it doesn't just apply to gaming. I use a lot of processing power when making and editing these videos, and it is super appreciated to not have to worry about slowdowns when putting together visual effects, which was a real issue because of the previous default browser I used. But that's not all. Opera GX also has integrations with Discord, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and Twitch directly inside the browser itself. This is all displayed from the handy dandy sidebar, which is honestly the most genius thing I've seen from all of this. Managing all your social media has literally never been easier. And man, don't you just love this aesthetic? It really is pleasing to the eye, and would you look at that, it's customizable! I personally rock the Ultraviolet palette, but there are other great ones to choose as well, in addition to custom wallpapers, a dark and light mode toggle, and so much more. You could really make it your own. And looking at this so far, you might be thinking, man, this looks awesome, but what about my extensions, browsing history, and bookmarks from my other online browsers? Well, that's why Opera GX has the quick import tool. Just hit the button, import settings, and boom, there you go, they're all in there. And surprise, if you're on mobile, boom, there's an app for Opera GX as well. There is literally no excuse for not having this downloaded. And by using my exclusive link in the description, you'll be helping out the channel as well. Thanks for Opera GX for sponsoring us. Now let's get back to the show. In terms of rules, it's very simple. Catching Pokemon is strictly forbidden, and honestly training one bastard will drastically overlevel me, especially near the endgame. With Amoonguss' stats, they leave a lot to be desired for, and I really hope you get acquainted with this move pool because that's all you're going to be able to see for the next however many minutes this ends up being. And you know what? To raise the stakes, if I lose this challenge in any way, shape, or form, I will not only purchase the Among Us inflatable Halloween costume, but I will go around campus in character doing what I do best, being a nuisance. And so, without further ado, let's get crack-a-lackin'. We boot up the game to the greeting of Professor Juniper. Skip, 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 surprise, here we are, now we're Among Us without a space. Yes, I'm just as sad as you are. We wake up in our room surrounded by Charon and later Bianca, our rivals for this journey. You choose a Pokemon that's left for you by a stranger that, to our knowledge, we've never seen before, and we get paired with Imposter the Amoonguss. And surprise, surprise, I'm thrust into two back-to-back battles against a Tepig, carried by Charon, and Oshawott, trained by Bianca. Amoonguss starts with Absorb, Astonish, Bide, and Growth. Get used to these moves, they aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And yeah, while I'm explaining this, Oshawott died. Charon was also defeated as well with a combination of poison due to Amoonguss' ability Effect Spore, where if Amoonguss is hit by a physical attack, there's a chance that she'll inflict a random status effect between paralysis, sleep, and most importantly, poison. This is very important for one big reason. Bide. Hey, isn't that how Tepig died? Poison and Bide? But Bide will be a very important asset during this run, especially for some tougher bosses, and cannot work if Imposter hasn't been touched in its warm-up phase. And during this time, I'd also like to sing Amoonguss' praises again for being a really shitty Mon, boasting some of the lowest speed in the game, a balanced set of attack stats with not so much in terms of type effectiveness. 4 weaknesses, by the way, with 3 of them being touted by gym leaders. Alright. Back on track, we say hi to Mom, see some shit go down at the Bianca household, get the Pokedex, and boom, cult meeting! We get introduced to Team Plasma, Getsus, and subsequently N, where we battle him, poison his cat, and move on. Nothing really of note happens between Accumula Town and Stridon City. We go through the route, beat up Bianca again, but can't help but notice that the PP on our moves is low. Hopefully that won't be an issue later in the future where I have better moves at my disposal. Trainer School, Charon, dead, awesome! Now it's time to talk about the Striaton Gym. I said earlier that 3 of the 4 weaknesses imposter faces are specialties of gym leaders, and surprise surprise, because Snivy was replaced by Amoonguss, I have to go up against Chili, the fire guy. But that's not a problem, I have Bide, remember? Just as long as he doesn't work up 6 consecutive times, there won't be an issue. Well, shit. Suffice to say, I lost that battle more times than I'd like to admit, cause remember, Astonish does nothing, Growth only boosts special stats, and every other attack I have is physical aside from Absorb, which is half effective against a Fire-type Pansear. So logically, the best course of action was to serve up a boosted by Barrage bolstered by Pansear's persistent Pyromania. It took 3 attempts to get the formula right, and even then I got lucky. Healing item spam was necessary until a low roll Incinerate was hit, or even an early workup into Incinerate combo that gave me some form of damage with Bide. And with a mighty 3 HP, exactly that happened and we came out victorious with the Trio badge. So you have just beaten your first gym leader, congratulations! What do you think you should do? Was your answer to help a completely unrelated, forgettable, and nonsensical professor find sleeping tapirs and extract their vaporized juices from them? No? Well, too fucking bad, we gotta do this. But because of this, the first major roadblock appears before us, the Cut Tree. And let's take a look at that moveset again. Oh, would you look at that? Imposter can't learn Cut. Well, shit, what do? We can't catch a Pokemon. Amoonguss herself can't do anything. Shit, I guess this is the end of our journey. Psych, come on! Moron, you thought this video was that short? Look at the time code. Here we introduce a new character, this random-ass lassie who generously offers us a monkey! They have 2 roles, cut down a tree and do something later. And so that's what we do. Cut down the tree, put them in the box, and move on with our day. Plasma bullies Amuna, we win, and we go back to Fennel for some reason, and she gives us something useless, and thus we move on. Next up, we gotta get Sus out of the box and fight some preschoolers, and after we win easily, we put him back. This is a non-optional thing, but hey, we didn't catch Sus. After we put him back, we get to follow a very simple formula that you'll see again and again. Next route, Plasma Fight. Next city, oh hey, Miracle Seed. Neat, now we're at the gym. Lenora is a normal type gym leader, which honestly isn't an issue. If it weren't for the fact that Astonish isn't a move that we can use, again. At least Mega Drain gets Miracle Seed boosted stab, so honestly this will be our best bet for taking out her Pokemon. And oh my god, this fight took 20 minutes, 3 attempts, and lots of potions. Herdier was easy enough, but that Watchog. For reference, Watchog has Crunch, Hypnosis, and Retaliate, which if you didn't know, doubles in power after an ally faints. And since Watchog comes out after the Herdier that I just slain, consider that already scary 70 power move on par with something like Hyper Beam. Combined with the fact that she can put me to sleep, I had a very tough time with this gym. Suffice to say, we cheesed our way through that gym, quite literally holding on by the skin of our teeth. Basic badge acquired. Honestly, I'm surprised that Lenora gave me so much trouble. By all accounts, I should have won somewhat easily. I hope that this isn't an issue that comes up in the future. Well, no use foreshadowing, Team Plasma stole some shit again. Realistically, we could just skip past this trite. We go through Pinwheel Forest, fight a few guys, get a skull back, and boom, we're on our way. Honestly, it's just a detour that shouldn't take up any more of the time than it already has. Woo! Castelia City! What a wonderful place to be in, full of culture, charm, and robberies being committed at the drop of a hat. Wow, just like the real New York City. But it doesn't matter. We're here to focus on the 3rd gym, Berg's Bug-type Battalion. The puzzle is neat, but hey, I really gotta wonder why the gym is filled with clowns. Not a gripe, just a question. That aside, let's jam. First up is Whirlipede, Feint Attack, Sleep, Poison Tail powered Bide, dead. Dwebble is next and is 2-shot with a Mega Drain. And finally, Leavanny was a bit trickier as it was down to 8 consecutive Feint Attacks thanks to Berg healing up every time Leavanny hit yellow. Bada bang bada boom, we got the Insect badge. Hopefully the next few gyms aren't as bad. Spoiler, it isn't! Elisa was actually quite easy. The newly learned Giga Drain made short work of the Emolga, plural, and Zeb Strika went down to a Giga Drain as well, but only after he wanted to take a nap. But here's a small issue. It's not just a straight shot to Nimbasa City. Route 4 is easy enough with Charon and Bianca barely being an inconvenience, but in comes N. This is an issue. N's team has always been a trouble spot for me. Darumaka and Sigilith, in combination with that Scraggy and Sandile that he carries, is monstrous at this point in the game. And it does not help that Sigilith is a psychic flying type, both super effective against Imposter, and Sandile has Embargo, which makes using items literally not an option, which, if you couldn't tell up until this point, was a really good strategy. Darumaka has Fire Punch, Sigilith has Air Cutter and Psybeam, Sandile had Embargo, and Scraggy had Assurance. This was a stacked team that took way too many attempts for me to get past. The flowchart would typically go, Sandile uses Embargo, it hits, I kill Sandile, Darumaka comes out, it uses Fire Punch, if I survive, it dies, Sigilith will come out, and then I would die because I can't heal well. Mega Drain wouldn't work as it's a flying type, and that's not very effective. I won because of sheer luck. Absolutely crazy. Fast forward to the present, I just beat Elisa, Volt Badge acquired. You probably know what happens next. Next route, Plasma Fight, next city. Driftvale City doesn't have a lot going on story-wise aside from the cold storage stuff, which in all honesty I still don't quite understand, nor do I really care to understand it. What really matters here is the gym, and by far was this the easiest. I'm a grass type with a super powerful stab move, boosted by Miracle Seed, which also heals me. And all Clay has is Krokorok, who went down to a single Giga Drain not before setting up a Torment, Excadrill, who went down in a Giga Drain, Bide, and Faint Attack, and ending with a Palpitoad, a Pokemon who is quad weak to grass. Take a guess how many attacks it took to kill him. Boom. Quake Badge. Man, haven't you loved this quick streak of progression? It seems like we're breezing through this challenge so far, and with the pace we're going at, we should just be a route or two before getting to Skyla. Boy, oh boy, do I love Skyla, her gym is just so awesome. Yeah, you knew where I was headed with this. This ain't happening. At this point, it's a slog before getting to Skyla, but most importantly, it makes for some good training for our imposter here. But what sucks even more is that I could literally sum up what happens in the next 30 seconds. Bianca fight. I win. Really long route filled with baby. Chargestone's Cave, End Fight, Celestial Tower, Ding-a-ling-a-ling, back to the city, gym time. Hey, remember back to the beginning when I said there were 4 weaknesses with 3 of them being specialties of gym leaders? We already went up against Chili, so that leaves 2. Well, surprised, the next 2 gyms are just that. Flying and Ice make up the other 2, and Psychic is the remainder. Hopefully that won't show up again anytime soon. Huh. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Bide works really well already. Giga Drain is always an option here, and the other moves also exist. But here is where we start to see a problem. See, Giga Drain has only 10 PP, and I can't seem to buy ethers. That's absolutely going to be an issue. But that aside, let's tackle Skyla. Skyla wasn't that bad in all honesty. I was grossly overleveled, so that absolutely helped, but I still had to be smart with my move usage, especially since I was so low when I got to her. Zubat came out first, and it got poisoned before dying to a Faint Attack. Unfezant is next, who fainted to 2 Clear Smogs, and finally Swanna came in swinging with air slashes before dying to Clear Smog. Imposter really held on with 1 HP at the end of it all, and I'm getting really scared that I'm losing all my luck here, yo. In the meantime, I can safely add the Jet Badge to my collection. Luckily, the path to Icera City wasn't as bad as the trek to Mastralton. After talking to N, we head off, avoid everyone to circumvent getting to level 50 before even attempting Bryson's gym, head through Twist Mountain, and hey, we already know this formula. Next route, Plasma Fight. Next city, Bryson time. Luckily for me, ice types are fragile as glass. Knock them over and they shatter. In this case, Bryson boasted of Vanillish, which barely put a dent in my defenses. Vanillish crumbled under 2 Giga Drains, Beartick was next and put up one hell of a fight with a combo of Swagger and Icicle Crash, which eventually fell to a Faint Attack after a long struggle. Finally was Cryogonal, who perished to a Faint Attack. Awesome! Icicle Badge got. That was way too easy. Well, our luck definitely ran out because surprise, surprise, we gotta go through another detour. This time through Dragon Spiral Tower. 20 minutes later, we find N with Reshiram, and that's all we were supposed to see as he dips shortly thereafter, telling us that he's gonna be the best like no one ever was. After getting back to town, we meet up with Alder, who tells us to go to the desert resort before flying away. Last time I checked, our imposter doesn't have wings and thus cannot learn fly, which means we have to go all the way back to Route 4 on foot. That took way too long. In the desert resort lies the Relic Castle, where at the very bottom we find Alder and Getsis chatting about literal bullshit, and afterwards I have to trek all the way back to Nakreen City. We're here because we have to get the final MacGuffin before headed towards the Opelucid City, the Dark Stone. Finally, we're done. Speeding towards Opelucid City, we fight Bianca again. Gessus reveals to us on a bridge that he wants to take over the world, and finally, after 2 hours of filler nonsense, we finally get to Opelucid City. Since I'm playing Pokemon White version, I have to go up against Iris instead of Drayden, which ultimately doesn't matter because they use the same Pokemon. But I like the image of beating up Iris just a little bit more considering the shit that I sat through with her in the anime. She touts a Fracture, who perishes to Clear Smog, as does her Druddigon, and her Haxorus makes the mistake of Dragon Dancing on the same turn as me starting Bide, and immediately using Dragon Tail. 1 shot, 1 kill. Won't even see it coming. It's kind of poetic in a way. And that's really it for the gym challenge. All that's really left is Victory Road, and despite what it might look like, no HMs are needed. You could get by without using a single one at all. Take that, you stupid water monkey. Luckily, it wasn't that bad. Before arriving, Juniper showed up and gave me a useless Master Ball, and I had to fight Charon on the way, but luckily, again, it wasn't really a big deal. But after everything, here we are. The Pokemon League. This will test my endurance, planning skills, and tenacity over everything I've learned thus far. This set of trainers is difficult, to say the least, but there's only really one that I'm scared of, but we'll get back to her in a bit. First up is Chantal. She uses ghost types, which really isn't an issue if Bide weren't an essential strategy I had against all of them. In case you didn't know, Bide can't hit ghosts, so that's really out the window. Whatever, we'll manage. First up is Cofagrigus. Not an issue, as it just whittles them down with Giga Drain. It dies, and I have 8 PP left on it. Period. Chandelure is up next, and surprise, it has Fire Blast. Fire Blast nearly kills me every time it's used. And then when it's not using that, it uses Psychic, which isn't as bad comparatively, but it's still half my health gone when it lands. I kid you not, my strategy for this devolved into stalling out Fire Blast until I had no more of it, then hitting it hard with Feint Attack. Awesome! Golurk was next, and it died immediately due to Giga Drain, as did Jellicent with the aid of a single Feint Attack. 1 down. I take the time in between fights to use one of 2 PP ups I found to increase Giga Drain's max uses from 10 to 12. Massive in the long run. I'ma save the other for later, just in case. Next up is Grimsley. Starting out, he starts with Scrafty, died to Poison and Giga Drain. Liepard faked me out, but it got killed with Bide stored with 2 Aerial Aces. Bisharp got paralyzed after cutting Imposter, but like its brethren, died to a charged up Bide. And finally is Crocodile, and it got 1 shot with a Giga Drain after initially leaving us with 16 HP. Grimsley falls with Imposter leveling up to level 62, replacing Clear Smog with Spore. Probably the most useful move I could have at this time. Instead of going to Caitlyn next, I instead go over to Marshall purely to get him out of the way, as he has nothing that can really mess with me. Throw comes first, and with a combo of Spore and Giga Drain, he's the first to fall as well. Sock follows the same fate with the same combo, and out comes Conkeldurr. Same thing happens. And then finally, Mienshao is revealed. He's a bit more tanky and doesn't go down that easy, but after a bit, Mienshao falls asleep and gets all the life sucked out of him because of it. 1 to go. Now it's time to talk about Caitlyn. She is the hardest Elite Four member in this challenge by far. Amoonguss is weak to Psychic types, and Caitlyn is a Psychic type master. But you know we can't quit now, we gotta stick it through. Before the battle starts, I used the final PP up on Giga Drain, as it will come in handy later. That leaves us with 4 Giga Drains, 8 Bides, 9 Spores, and 16 Feint Attacks. For 4 Pokemon, that shouldn't be a problem, right? Right? Starting the battle, she sends out Reuniqueless. Spore hits and 2 Feint Attacks take it down. Up next is my nemesis, Sigilith. Spore and 2 Feint Attacks take him down, but only after a consecutive beating that left me in a loop of Spore, Miss, Heal, Repeat. Out comes Musharna, and luckily she went down without touching me, using the same Spore Feint Attack combo. And finally, Gothitelle, Caitlyn's ace. She uses Calm Mind. I Spore. I Feint Attack. She wipes out 3/4 of my health with Psychic. I use Feint Attack. It crits. Gothitelle dies, and I am left victorious. That's it. The Elite Four is defeated. Time to fight the champion, and nope! N wins so hard against Alder, the cutscene where his castle rises from the ground glitches out. This is it, boys. We're in the final stretch. We meet N in his throne room. N calls in Reshiram, flexes, and whoa, remember that Darkstone we had? Turns out that was the other legendary Pokemon. What? No. That aside, it's time to kill Zekrom and beat N. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. You have to catch Zekrom. This isn't optional. I lost. It's impossible to beat Pokemon Black and White without catching the box legendary. God fucking damn it. Unfortunately, I want to finish what I started, so I catch Zekrom with the Master Ball I caught prior, and thus, crewmate Sadface was brought onto the team. And because we are thrust into the end fight right after that, there is no possible way to beat him only using Amoonguss. But let's fight in the meantime. I make use of the 2 Pokemon I got. When one dies, I have the other one stall in as I max revive the other. Crewmate uses Dragon Breath on Reshiram, knocking him out. Vanillix is next, goes to sleep and is KO'd by Imposter's Feigned Attack. Zoroark is next, getting Giga Drained until it perishes, when Klinklang is sent out and it dies by a combination of Spore and Giga Drain. Archeops is next, and surprise surprise, Giga Drain comes in clutches here as well. And finally comes out Caracosta, and with it Quad Reek de Grass, Giga Drain comes in and finishes the job. Awesome. And with End defeated, all who's left is Getsis. He's already a little piss baby for having his plans thwarted for the upteenth time, and he's now finally snapped. Final battle. Let's jam. Getsis starts out with Cofagrigus. Crewmate disassembles the coffin with Dragon Breath. Bouffalant is next, and Imposter poisons and Giga Drains it. Next up is Hydreigon. Crewmate decimates the dragon with Dragon Breath. Up next is Seismitoad, and surprise surprise, a Giga Drain does the trick. Electros is up next, and Spore plus Giga Drain ends the eel. And finally, Bisharp is put in his place with the now iconic combination of Spore and Giga Drain, ending off the challenge in a melancholic fashion. Getsis is put in his place, End flies off, and that's the game. I am now the Unova region champion. But I lost. I lost the challenge. I didn't beat the game with just Amoonguss. I had no choice. But a promise is a promise. I lost, and so I have to now reap the consequences.
Alright, so I lost. So this just came in the mail. It's the actual thing. It took 3 weeks. Oh my fucking god. Wow, this looks terrible.
I like the best part about it is it's too small for him.
Yeah, it's 5'9" and I'm 6'3".
What is the battery for?
I don't know. That's the problem.
It's gonna swing in Among Us.
It's gonna. Oh my god, this looks terrible.
It's supposed to go on the outside or the inside?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure
know.
it's
It's right. It's right.
Oh, hold on. Whoa.
Oh my! You might have to put it up because your head is just like.
Yeah, no, my head. Oh, that's why. That's why we have the arm handle.
That's massive.
You look like a fucking cone head.
For like Silent Hill.
Well,
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Give us a
Give us the 360.
All right, baby.
Oh my god, that
Let's
butt.
go.
Dude, you got a comfy on you.
Oh my god, how am I gonna fit through the door?
exactly.
Just loosen the things at the bottom and they'll deflate. We'll meet you down there, Jay.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, everybody can fit. Yeah, everyone can fit, kinda. Get in
But
there.
I don't want to.
Yeah, baby. Thank you. Okay.
What is that?
Oh my god, I'm looking at myself in the reflection of the window.
I'm sorry.
Behind you, Pastor.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
This way.
How do you feel right now?
I feel like a joke. Dude, do we need to play your soundtrack? Among Us.
I like the drip, bro.
Yo, high
Thanks,
five.
man.
Is this your joking moment, Jacob?
This is my Joker moment. I need to find. Oh, I can't find stairs. I need like a gentle incline. On this one. Yeah! Red sus, am I right? Good evening! How you doing? Good. Great costume. Huh? Great costume. Thank you! Vent! Among Us! vent! Among Us! Alright, I'm done.